Why in the world can't I stop playing Titanfall 2? Why now? Other than the obvious reason, why after 7 years am I picking this game up and refusing to put it down? Why am I not getting sick of this game? Because Titanfall 2 is the greatest modern-day first-person shooter, and here's why. When you look at the playing field of FPS games these days, nearly all of them come with a meta. 9 times out of 10, the meta refers to a weapon in the game that simply kicks the shit out of any other weapon the game offers. This leads to nearly everybody just using the same gun, and if you try and be different, most of the time, you'll get walloped. This eliminates much of what should make these games fun, experimenting with different weapons and discovering new strategies to make them work beyond what's presented on the surface. But these days, especially with games like Call of Duty, there's no reason to use anything else. The meta is the meta. It clearly does its job better than any other weapon, so why use any other weapon? If I'm playing MW2 and I'm using an X12 against somebody using an M4, I'm getting smoked. It doesn't matter how many times I jump, slide, panic, I'm dead. And that's the same for most modern FPS games. Now you might be thinking, dude, of course an assault rifle's gonna outgun a pistol. What's your point? Titanfall 2. That's my point. What separates Titanfall 2 from other FPS games is the absence of today's conventionally determined meta. Titanfall 2 has a very unique meta, and it's the greatest weapon in the entire game. Movement. Some could argue that the car is unfair and is the meta because it outshoots pretty much everything, but that's not necessarily true. An overpowered, ultra-precise SMG with a little too much range looks like a gel blaster against an experienced pilot who knows how to utilize the movement of the game. Titanfall 2 is a game where weapon stats don't necessarily affect your success with the weapon, but rather, it's how you use them that determines your success. A P2016 can easily outgun the car, if it's in the right hands. But you could say the same thing if you could move like that in MW2. That's not the point. We're talking about reality. You can't move an MW2 like you can in Titanfall 2. Boots on the ground with an arsenal of unbalanced weapons, a new meta every week that every TTV sweat and their mother is using. There's very little balance to gameplay. And as a lifelong COD player, that is one of the primary reasons I've started losing interest. But now that I'm playing Titanfall 2, it's like I've stepped into Narnia, a universe where, most of the time, it doesn't matter what weapon you're using, as long as you're moving. The best weapon in Titanfall 2 is your own ability to utilize the movement, and to me personally, that is the bulk of what drives me to want to grind this game. Sure, there's weapons, perks, titans, camos, and abilities to grind for, but none are as satisfying to me as learning to fly. Look, if you're getting into this game for the first time, don't be turned off by how chaotic the movement is. Your first couple games will be rough, but you'll learn, and this is coming from somebody who hasn't even learned how to do everything yet. I'm still learning, but the process of doing so is some of the most fun I've ever had. Why? Because no matter how good I get, or how much fun I'm having, I always know that I can get better, and once I learn the movement some more, I can have even more fun. Because at the core of this all, at the core of Titanfall 2, there is balance. There are super accurate, high rate of fire weapons in this game, but they don't dominate the battlefield. Why? Say it with me. Movement. I don't think I've ever played a competitive FPS game more balanced, fair, and fun than Titanfall 2. If you're like me and have waited 7 years to notice this game, except you still haven't tried it out, I highly encourage it. It may not be $4 on Steam anymore, but I can assure you, $50 to play possibly the greatest movement shooter in decades, with freshly fixed and thriving servers, worth it. Very worth it. Anyway, play Titanfall 2. Bye.